Good morning. This morning, if you're anything like I am, you are one step at a time, 1 inch at a time, one tiny little millimeter at a time, working your way through the process of living life on this planet. The ins and outs of the everyday life, the ups and downs of raising a family, of working a 9 to 5, the ups and downs of even vacations have their ups and downs, right? Even vacations have the euphoria of getting there and the mediocrity of, oh, are we all hitting it off so well? And the ending of, I don't even want to go back home. Or, I just can't wait to get back home. The life that we live, it has its ups and downs, it has its moments. We're gonna do one more Bible story hour. When I walked into Daniel from Ezekiel, right? So we did Ezekiel Dry Bones Bible story hour, and then we did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire with a fourth man. Bible story hour, and this week we're gonna talk about Daniel. Daniel was exiled from his homeland, which was the city of Jerusalem, and he was taken as a captive into a foreign land. He was a prisoner of war. But Daniel showed himself approved. He was approved by God, and then he was approved by men. You know, in the Old Testament, before Jesus, men and women followed the law so strictly and perfectly in order to get approval from God. And God was like, this isn't working, and I knew that it wouldn't. And so Jesus paid the penalty for our sin and purchased our righteousness. Isn't he wonderful? Isn't he so good? We don't have to live by the law anymore. Well, this Daniel showed himself to be so approved by God when he started to work for the king who was holding him as a prisoner of war. He drew the attention of the high officials because they're like, I don't like this guy. He's not even from our town. He's not like us. Was it racially motivated? I would say that it was. He's not even like us, and he's above us, and we're supposed to listen to him. How can we catch him? We got to catch him doing something wrong. And they tried and they tried and they tried to catch him doing something wrong. You'll find this story in Daniel 6. They couldn't find him doing anything wrong, so they're like, I'll tell you what he does do. He prays to his God. Let's go tell the king to make a law in the land that says you can't pray to any other God but the king. And so they did that, knowing that it would ensnare Daniel. They couldn't catch him doing something bad, so they caught him doing something good and tried to use it against him. You might be facing that in your life. You might be facing the possibility that, what are my friends going to say if they know I follow Jesus? Or what's my family going to say if they know I follow Jesus? Or what are my coworkers going to say if they know I follow Jesus? Because if I follow Jesus, then I must walk in his ways. And if I walk in his ways, I may step on the toes of some folks who do not. So Daniel, he receives this edict. No more praying to your God. And here's the Bible story part, y'all. The king issued the edict in writing. Now, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened towards Jerusalem. 3 times a day, he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to God, just as he had done before. Then these men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king. And they said, hey, king, guess what? Daniel's praying to someone other than you. And the king was just like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't bargain for this. I wasn't asking for this. I wasn't looking for this. I like Daniel. And the king was concerned. His heart was greatly distressed, it says in Daniel 6, verse 16. He was determined to rescue Daniel, and he tried every possible way that he could. But the king himself couldn't rescue someone who had broken one of the laws that he had written. So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel, and they threw him into the lion's den. And the king said to Daniel, "May the God whom you serve continually rescue you." Now a stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring, so that Daniel's situation might not be changed. Be Daniel for a minute. I'm praying to you, God. I'm trusting you, God. I'm looking to you, God. And you let them throw me in the lion's den. Even the king of the country couldn't save me, God. Who's going to save me, God? And you're realizing you're in there with the lions and you're like, only you can save me, God. No one can save me. Only you can save me, God. The king returned to his palace. He didn't sleep all night. He was freaked out. He was like, what have I done? This dude's gonna die. And at first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. And when he came near the den, he called out, "Daniel," in an anguished voice. "Daniel, servant of the living God. Has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" And Daniel answered, "May the king live forever." See, Daniel never dishonored the king. He just refused to pray and worship to anyone but his God. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions, and they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight. Nor have I ever done wrong before you, your majesty." And the king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the lion's den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound, not even a single wound, was found on him, because he trusted God. Because Daniel trusted God, he found favor in the eyes of the king. Because he trusted God, he found hatred in the eyes of the king's other servants. Because Daniel trusted God and displayed it, he was thrown into a den of lions. And because Daniel trusted God, God saved Daniel from the lions. He sent his angel to close the lions' mouths. So today, as you go into this week, know that trust in God, it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you all the things you needed to be stripped of anyways. And it might not be an easy process. It might be a scary process. It might feel like death is coming. You're going into the pit of lions. But trusting God counts for everything. Daniel was rescued from the pit of lions because he trusted in God. So as you go into this week, trust in God. And in the book of Daniel, earlier in the chapter 2, this prayer is prayed by Daniel. He says, "Praise be to the name of God forever and ever. Wisdom and power are his. He changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and he raises them up. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. Who is on the Lord's side? In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will rescue you from the lion's den. When you cannot rescue yourself, when you cannot help yourself, know that your God not only can help you and rescue you, but he will help you and rescue you, just like Daniel in the lion's den. Truth, not fiction. It's going to be a great day.